when you have a cabinet shake-up, considering the fact that there are ministers that a lot of Nigerians are making a whole lot of noise about that they should be dropped, and they're not dropped.
Like I told you, we will continue to debate and write books on these things. You know, I have seen her fiscal and professional, that's Mrs. Obada, I've seen her fiscal and professional dexterity. Just like during was it 2 weeks ago or last week, during the 19th Nigerian Economic Summit, right? I saw the kind of questions that were thrown at or presented to the Minister for National Planning, Shamsuddin Usman.
And he's gone.
And and the way they were asking him, they will go this way, he provides the answer. You go this way, he provides the answer. But like I keep saying, it depends on the criteria or what is in the mind of the employer. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean,
so it is not about what the public perception of that person's performance is. It's more about what the employer
there's a saying that perception is one thing and performance is another thing. Because we have always been talking about paper analysis, but we don't see real performance. It's just like, even if you take the case of agriculture, we've had at a point farmers were going to be given mobile phones, but I can tell you, in my place like Kafanchan, if you go, fertilizer is not cheap. You have fertilizer in the range of probably $1,500, 100,500 naira, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 per bag, depending on the grade. So somebody will tell you, well, we are trying to do something. Also have about transportation. We are just trying to see what we could do to make sure we start hauling, heavy duty equipment, food and the rest using the rails. But are we supposed to be talking about that today?
From your analysis then, are you implying that it may not be completely about whether they performed or didn't perform?
Yes and no, because somehow, somewhere, you can always relate and connect some of these ministers to probably people in government, either as governors or as influential party members. And remember, you have a distraction in the country as we speak. What's going on in PDP? To me, it's completely a political distraction. So you can do the basic analysis and correlation, and you can say, okay, this person probably, from what I've been hearing or reading, this person came because of the influence of this person, either as a governor or whatever. And based on the exchanges that we are seeing today, I can tell you what we are just creating is we have succeeded in creating this phrase and description for Nigeria, a country of great people, great potentials, but bad example.
What would you say?
That's what we are on the political and international pedestal today. Great country, great people, but bad example. Because we always start on the right path, the right track, with the same indices that work in other parts of the world. But will just get to a point and it will just be cul-de-sac.
What would you say, Bala, to those who have made the suggestion that these sacked ministers were recommendations of the governors who are now part of this splinter PDP?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that political quagmire is there. That political distraction to the national interest of Nigeria progress is there. But you cannot divorce politics, from rewards. You cannot. There are countries where when people are elected, the first thing they talk about is national unity and national progress of the country. But what we are seeing in Nigeria is a situation where you've just discovered that a minister knew a particular governor very well. And it was possible that the governor recommended that minister. But importantly, you need to also accept and agree that in Nigeria, from what a lot of us learned, most of these ministers are recommended by their states. And if you are recommended by your state, who is likely to recommend you? The chief executive of the state. What I would want to see is people being made ministers or given appointments based on their dexterity,
track record,
and track records. And that simply means when you are doing, you are not a stooge to people probably in your state or somebody else. In other words, if I'm from a particular state and I'm appointed to serve, I mustn't be serving because I mustn't be removed because the person who recommended me from my state has problem with the central government.
Yes.
And in like manners also, when I'm serving, I will need to understand that the national interest of the country is what comes first, not political godfathers or gladiators in my state who sat down, decided that if we send this guy with time, he will represent the interests of my state.
Okay. Some people have also said that this reshuffle is to bring more of his core supporters into his cabinet. Of course, that's talking about the president.
In politics, the only thing people are interested in is their interests.
I beg your pardon, Bala. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Good morning, Mudiaga. Are you there, Mudiaga? Please go ahead. Go ahead, please.
I want to contribute to the program.
Go ahead.
Well, the topic says whether there is an undertone to the stroke cabinet. I said, what undertone people? There is a political undertone to what is happening. Fortunately, that our politicians are politicizing everything. They should realize that the issue is not politics. Once you have been elected, you become a national figure. In the last couple of weeks, everything has been so politicized and it hovers around PDP. The presidency and every other person is so concerned about how to resolve political issues. Today, these people are fired. I can tell you it's not on the strength of performance. But essentially, it is politically, it has a political coloration. And I think the time is now for us to begin to move away from politics to seeing how we could do things that affect people. The people are suffering. Unemployment figure is unimaginable. There is no food on the table, and these should be critical issues that politicians are elected to solve. But rather than solving it, it's all about politics. When they are talking about 2015, and I ask them, the mandate we gave to you, what have you done with it? Electricity is still down, and employment figure is beyond what we want to talk about. And Boko Haram is ravaging, and so on and so forth. So I think they should come and realize that they are elected to perform, and let them perform. Thank you.
Thank you, Mudiaga. It's just what you are saying. Performances of the...
I totally agree with him, because Nigerians are truly in pains. Nigerians are highly, not minimally, Nigerians are highly frustrated. Things are not working. I can tell you, because the indices are there. So even when people try to bring political colorations into this, yes, it's very, very clear. But sometimes I just keep wondering who advisors are and who elder statesmen are. Let me specifically talk about the case of probably what people are saying, the central government or the presidency and Rivers State. You see, the first thing about these two camps is, first of all, Jonathan and President Jonathan and Governor Amechi were probably 15 years ago or 20 years ago from the same states. You know, they were all Niger Deltans. You know, they went to the same school. In fact, they all went to University of Port Harcourt. And at the point, the agitation was for the totality of Niger Deltans. So it will sound absurd if people that had a common interest, common goal to do something for Niger Deltans, you know, will be in different camps today.